He once ruled Panama with an iron fist. Now he's likely to spend a long time behind iron bars. The verdict is in for Manuel Noriega. A jury says he's guilty on 8 of 10 counts. Reaction is coming in from Washington to South Florida. What does the verdict mean? We'll have analysis for you. The Manuel Noriega verdict is our top story on Channel 6 Action News. Good evening, I'm Barbara Sloan. John Hambrick has the night off. Manuel Noriega could face as many as 120 years in prison. Payback for turning the other way as drug lords used his country as a cocaine and money laundering mecca. Tonight we have Action Team coverage on the verdict and what it means. We start with Action News reporter Ileana Varela live at the federal courthouse. Ileana?
Barbara, what an incredible turn of events here today. Yesterday, almost a hung jury. Today, the jury comes back, finds Manuel Noriega guilty on nearly every single drug and racketeering charge against him. The U.S. government is calling it a victory in the war on drugs. Noriega's attorneys insist this trial was not about drugs, it was about politics. Just before 3 o'clock, the attorneys in the case and Noriega's family were summoned to the courthouse. The jury had reached a verdict. Inside the courtroom, Noriega sat stoic in his general's uniform, as he has during most of this 6-month-long trial. As the verdict was read, 2 of his youngest daughters cried. It was not good news for the general. Guilty of conspiracy to racketeer, which carries a maximum penalty of 20 years in jail. Guilty of racketeering, another 20 years. Guilty of conspiracy to distribute and import cocaine into South Florida from 1981 to 1984, 15 years. Guilty of distributing 400 kilos of cocaine into South Florida in May of 1983, 15 years. Guilty of distributing another 400 kilos of cocaine back in January of 84, 15 years. Guilty of helping the Medellin cartel manufacture cocaine in the Tranquilandia lab in Colombia, 15 years. Guilty of conspiracy to manufacture cocaine in a lab in the Darien province of Panama, 15 years. The jury, however, found Noriega not guilty of conspiracy to smuggle 322 kilos of cocaine aboard a yacht called the Krill, and subsequently not guilty of distributing that cocaine. But the general was convicted of aiding a money laundering flight of $800,000 from Fort Lauderdale to Panama, which carries another 5 years in jail. In total, Noriega faces up to 120 years in a U.S. prison.
The surprise, the feeling of relief that we have that so much effort by so many agents and prosecutors, the staff of the U.S. Attorney's Office, the Department of Justice and DEA, has finally come to this, that we can stand before you and tell you it was all worth it. They did one heck of a job, and we're proud of what we did.
This was not a drug case. This is a political case. It always has. It always will be. We only wish we were allowed to present the defense to address the case.
Barbara, this has been a long and grueling trial for everyone involved, including General Noriega, but I don't think there's anyone more relieved than those 12 South Floridians who answered the call to jury duty. What do they have to say? Cliff Caldwell has been following that story. Cliff?